Hey guys, what is up? Jeff here for One Fish, Two Fish. Today we are going to give you a horrible update video on our coral system. I believe in most of my videos I will just show you how nice our store looks. I will show you how good our coral looks, how healthy our fish look. Not always the case, and I do want to be fully transparent, show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we have had, this is a ridiculously stupid problem to have. It is a very tricky problem to catch, and I'll show you guys how we didn't, and I'll show you guys how quick it went out of control, and I'm going to show you guys, I'm not allowed to swear in these videos, but I'd like to, the very crappy way of what we're doing to fix it. And again, it's not a huge problem to fix it, it's just time. First off was fixing the problem, and the problem was very tricky. It was basically playing a trick on my staff, just by a very simple mistake. And what had happened, again, I'm going to show you guys this, and then I'll show you the outbreak to what it did to our coral system, which is weird because it's only happening in one of our tanks. And then I'm going to show you guys what we're doing to fix it, which we're doing right now, so I will warn you when we go back. It's a bit of a mess because we got everything ripped apart actually cleaning it. So let's take a look. So guys, this is our coral system. As you guys know, we have three very large 8x3 tanks. And then we also have a fourth right here. Most of our lights at this point, we've gone with all of the Neptune Sky LEDs. And then our sump is a welfare sump. It is just a big old Laguna tub. It is about a 300-gallon sump. We've got a big reefer skimmer. We've got filter socks going everywhere. We got all of our dosing stuff, all of our Neptune stuff right here. So remember, because a key part to this is all of these tanks dump into this sump. So this is the first part that has been very tricky for us. The issue that we're having is in one tank. And that is what has stumped everybody, not being able to figure out why this tank has gone to, and it's very nice because they're about a third of the way through it right now, which is good because I can show you some of the, I can show you what it's supposed to look like, what it normally looks like, and then I can show you, and the crappy thing is they've actually cleaned the really bad too, but I could show you what has happened, and then I can tell you what had happened with it. So it's very tricky if you're not running a multi-tank system. This is a very weird problem to have because we do have this thing set up for all of these. If the temperature goes off, the Neptune tells me. If the salt goes up, the Neptune tells me. If the alkalinity or the magnesium, blah, 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 my Neptune tells me all of this stuff. So for problems to happen in this tank is very rare. This tank has been very stable for a lot of years. These systems have been running for, I believe, going on like 7 years now. So they do very well. So this is where we are at. And again, I don't have any filters or anything on this, so you have to bear with the blue light. This is what my racks are supposed to look like, okay? This is my staff kind of getting sick of doing this stupid job and crushing it out, making them all look brand new, all black, all labeled, all prim and proper. So if you see this green, again, I'm not allowed to swear, so I'm not going to, but I really want to. If you can see this crappy brown green, it's like, it kind of looks like red cyanoalgae. It is just green, and it has covered the entire system. And now, again, this rack was the best. This rack was the second best, and it kind of got further down the road. So that right there gives you a very good indication on what the issue is. You know, definitely the flow in the tank was an issue, but it shouldn't have been enough of an issue to cause, like I'm trying, let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit and show you guys. To cause how bad this outbreak actually was. Now, whenever you look at this one, this entire rack was covered. It was all brown. That whole rack was all brown. You know, these torches are already, let me see if I can show you. These torches, you know, 10 minutes after this has been these racks have been cleaned, are already looking better. The Elegance, they took a beating. You see them? They took a beating. They're only just now, you know, hours, and this video is horrible to show you guys these. This is what a pissed off coral looks like. It is not waving, it's not moving, it's all sucked in. There's something wrong with this coral. They were just covered in algae. So all of these corals have been dipped, cleaned up. The racks, this is what Jacob is doing right now. You can see him going through, they're moving everything over. Let me see back here. They're going through, they're moving everything over. And then we've also got, so this is sort of an all hands on deck problem. We're just getting rid of this. We have a bunch of coral actually arriving today. So we do need this fixed in a one shot. The joys of having all of them together are we can basically shut this tank off, do whatever we want to it. Even if we have to drain the entire tank, it's still only about 20% of the water we have in our whole system. So doing a big water change on it, sucking the water we need, isn't really that big of a deal. So what he's doing now is he's moving everything from one rack. Basically, we cleaned this one, moved everything from 1 to 2, and then he's moving everything from 2 to 1, 3 to 2, 4 to 3, 5 to 4 type of thing. And then we're taking the racks out, and we are scrubbing the racks down completely. So that is sort of the fix to our problem. Now here is how we got the problem. And again, not a very common problem, not something you guys are probably going to run into a lot without having the multiple systems, without running a bunch of tanks off of one sump. So what has happened with this is somehow, and we're not to be full, we've only got a couple people in the store that are allowed to play with the Neptune stuff. Just because when you have 10 people doing it, you know, small mistakes happen and it's just really hard to track down. So we've only really got 2 guys that do anything with the Neptune stuff. What we're thinking is somehow we got one of our core pumps. So all of these are on Core 20 pumps. One of them we must have got plugged into the wrong switch on our Apex. And somehow this thing, so we had to actually go to our cameras overnight to see this happening. We must have plugged this pump in, and at some point we plugged it into one that was on a timer. So every night when the store closed, our entire system was shutting off of the core pump. Now the problems with that obviously are many. Each one of our tanks don't have heaters. Our heater is all in our sump. We've got very large heaters that heat our sump, puts all the water back, so it's easy that way. It's cheaper, it runs better, it's better in every way, except if one of these tanks gets shut off from my sump, everything goes away. In every sense of the word. It doesn't get the heat, it doesn't get the flow, it doesn't get the turnover, but the other thing is I don't get the notifications. I don't find out that the temperature is really bad. So when this had happened, nobody knew because the pump was running during the day when we were here. At night, it was shutting off. So we got lucky. One of our manager actually came in one night because he was getting cranky at what the problem was. He actually came in one night and said, I want to come in and I want to check it and I want to see if it's doing anything different at night. He got lucky. He came in, saw the pump wasn't working, and we knew something was wrong. So then we call our Neptune guy and say, look, what the hell's going on with this? He tells us, well, you're stupid. You did something dumb. We did. We found out what it was. We swapped everything out. We got the pump fixed, and we started fixing it up. Problem 1, this has been going on for what we think at least a couple weeks. So for a couple weeks, every day, this tank, overnight, the temperature has been going like this. At 8 a.m. when the pump turns back on, it instantly starts sucking the warm water from the sump back in and draining it. And actually, we went back and we noticed for about 2 weeks, every morning, and again, because it was so quick, we were noticing the temperature in our tank was going from 1, it was losing about 1.5 degrees for about an hour, and then it was going back up. Because it was at a time of the day we weren't noticing, we weren't caring about it so much, because every time we checked the alarm, it was back to fine, so we didn't really, and again, that's a very big, the Neptune and the Apex, I keep saying Neptune, the Apex is awesome, but if you're not listening to it, what's the point? We weren't following the alarms. We were getting them, but every time we looked, we were seeing they were fixed. So we didn't actually catch on that there was a very big problem. We just didn't notice it. So every night, 10 hours, 12 hours, we're not even exactly sure. We figure it was about 12 hours. It looks like it was about 8 to 8. They were shutting off. The temperature was getting dropped. So every day, every morning, we were shocking these things. Basically, every day we were putting this tank through hell for 12 hours out of 24 every single day. So now we've got it fixed. Our solution to fixing it was nothing. It was just fixing the pump, plugging it in the right way, redoing it. Again, the fix was a 10-minute fix once we knew what the problem was. But because we don't want it, obviously, to get all to the rest of the system, and we're shocked it hasn't, because obviously during the day the pump does run. So our fix to it is to just deep dive it and just destroy all signs that we can. Because as you guys know, a lot of you saltwater guys, if you don't, and just almost any pest in saltwater, if you don't get rid of it completely, you know, a lot of times it comes back worse, especially with algae. Not usually worse, but it will come back, and a lot of times it will come back very quick, to the point of this stuff, we were wiping it clean, sucking it all out, and literally 24 hours later it was starting back, 48 hours later it was back, 72 hours later it was back and worse. So it seemed every time it was getting cleaned, it was coming back worse. So we knew we hadn't fixed the problem. So now we have fixed the problem. Obviously, we watched the cameras all through the night last night. We made sure the pump never stopped. It didn't. We are going to redo a couple of things on it just to get rid of that problem from ever happening again. And then what we're going to do is, like you guys can see, and this is really not the end of the world to do. It's just time. There's no money. I mean, there is money to me in it, obviously, because I've got to pay these guys to do this. But there's no real money in this. This is just a fix the problem. What they're doing is they're making sure they're fixing everything. You know, again, you can see the difference in the black. It sucks that we have to get rid of all the coralline algae, because actually the coralline algae is very nice, and the coralline algae will help from a lot of algae, a lot of other badder algae to grow. But look, you can just see this stuff. You can just see this stuff. It's disgusting. But once this all gets moved, and we've been doing it we've got an hour and a half or 2 hours in it so far. But really, it's not the end of the world. Moved everything around. The problem with it was the SPS. Again, you guys, I want to show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some of the SPS took a beating. You know, you can see some of the white coming up. You can't really tell with the camera without a really good lens on this, and we're still trying to find a good lens. We've got a great camera, but to be honest, we just something that shows the corals the way it's supposed to. And again, we're just gonna have to end up buying an orange lens for this or a blue lens for this, which we'll do, and that'll be much benefit for showing corals when we're doing coral videos and that sort of thing. But yeah, just to show you guys, you know, everybody runs into stuff like this. This system's been running 7 years. It's top of the line everything. It is, you know, there's $30,000 of equipment running this system. You could still get a silly little, and not even a mistake. It really wasn't something that that anybody could have caught without, you know, without getting lucky. And unfortunately, you know, we didn't get lucky. It took too long to fix. I've got this thing zoomed right in on my big fat face. It took us too long to actually catch. The problem had to really aggressively attack us before we caught it. But like I said, we've got it figured out now. We've got the problem fixed, which is always your biggest thing. Find out what is causing your problem and fix it. That is where you start. There is no point in getting rid of, especially any type of algae. If you don't know what's causing your algae, that is where you've got to start. You got to find the problem, you got to fix the problem, and then worry about the algae, because it will always come back. It will always get worse. You might as well find it, fix it, and be done with it, and then go to cleaning it, which is what we're doing. So we'll give you guys an update video in a couple weeks of what this actually looks like, if our fix worked, if it actually got rid of everything. And to be full disclosure, we don't know if it will. We are getting it all out of this tank today for sure. But, you know, with everything, there's a 300-gallon sump that we can't get completely to, so who knows what's in there. Hopefully it will fix. We'll give you an update video when we're done. But there you go, guys, just to show you guys, everybody fights algae, everybody fights problems with the saltwater tank. You're not alone. See you in the next one.